Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all fandoms, welcome to the Ferret and Raccoon podcast, episode 64. I am the Angry Raccoon.
I am Ace.
And we are, funny enough, bringing you a episode number that is lacking in its relevance to the actual Nintendo 64 console.
Yeah, you'd expect a lot of gaming from that.
Yeah, from a podcast which is titled as gaming and film and all that kind of stuff. But we can talk about that slightly later. It's still hot, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's that muggy British weather that I hate. I like the rain, I like the cold and snow, but this is really evil to me. I hate it.
I mean, I've not been minding it too much because we have received some rain, but for the most part it has been quite annoying because grass is growing and there's pollen everywhere. So people with hay fever are definitely suffering because most people don't know they have hay fever, especially if they live in England, because there's never any time for them to actually realise that fact.
And that's the thing, like, everyone in my family does, but we all suffer it from different times.
Really?
So I had it like a month back, and now my brother has it, and it's all hay fever, just weird pollen count. Yeah. It's strange.
I weirdly outgrew it for my age, but my nose still itches just given my work and how much time I've had to go out and all that other stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting time. I mean, I think it's fair to say that England is definitely in a pretty bad position right now for the most part, given the fact that if you aren't from England, you probably aren't aware, and I honestly do not blame you, but England had its most recent Prime Minister elections, which were interesting for the most part. Like, we're really not going to dabble on it too much because it's very boring, especially if you don't live in England. And even if you do live in England, it's very boring.
Yeah.
So
I'd definitely say the best thing, Jeremy Corbyn has proved that good Labour manifesto is not unelectable. Because this is the best Labour has ever been voted for in 45 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, Labour proved a point and the Tories realised how much they fucked up.
Yeah, and just to kind of put my thought into it, essentially, I don't understand why Theresa May, who is the current Prime Minister of England / her party, is actually surprised.
Yeah.
Given the fact that you didn't talk to anyone other than one audience, no wonder the vote was so close.
Yeah.
You weren't saying anything to anyone, and the fact that Labour actually managed to get more people to vote and vote for them isn't a surprise at all.
Yeah.
To kind of call out the Independent, who said that it was going to be a landslide with May winning as with the same kind of record as Margaret Thatcher, who was a previous Prime Minister back in the 90s. Wow.
Yeah.
It goes to show how out of touch some people are with culture and society, because really a landslide?
Yeah.
Like, Jeremy Corbyn, who runs for our Labour Party, may not necessarily have won, but at the same time, he definitely won the war in some sense, because, who's May with?
The Tories.
Tory. They lost pretty hard.
Yeah, they lost the majority, which is hilarious.
Yes, given the fact that a lot of people, including the Sun, were so sure that she would just destroy.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that smile can be wiped off a lot of newspapers' face who have the balls to actually tell you who to vote for.
Yeah.
You have no right. Just because you may be backed by Rupert Murdoch and Rupert Murdoch wants to stay within that party does not mean you necessarily need to go and say all this rubbish about things. Be like The Guardian and just tell people to vote.
Yeah.
And then talk about other things that are actually important, because guess what? Politics isn't that important.
I mean, I would say it is, but it's an argument for a different day.
Definitely. It's an argument we're never going to have on this podcast.
No, definitely not on this podcast.
We are not about that. Yeah. Nor do I think we will ever, as friends, really need to discuss that. No, I don't see that ever being a situation of, how dare you say that about Corbyn or something like that. But other than that, we can move off that very depressing situation. If you don't live in England or America, then I'm pretty sure you're doing okay for the most part in your country. No, unless it's France or Russia, but because that's another story. But we don't need to dabble in that. I mean, I think it's Canada next.
They still have Trudeau, which people seem to like. So,
Well, let him stay. But like, whatever. Canada has a good thing going on.
It's cold up there. I like it.
I'm jealous, but you know what? The floors are clean. You know, it's a nice country. Whatever. Family's been there. I want to go there someday. Although that's obviously going to be a recurring issue for the next 4 years. Hint, hint. But whatever. Let's move on with certain things. So, Ace, how have you been dealing with things other than the weather for the most part?
I've been pretty good mostly. As I said, just besides the weather, it's okay. Been trying to do more running. My friend's mum actually bought me a really cool running top for some reason.
Okay.
Like, she also goes running, and it's like a Batman running top, and it breathes very well, which is amazing.
Okay,
so
you're going to have like a shirt of, like, was it Run Lucy Run or something like that?
that
would have been somewhat ironic to some extent.
But I've been really enjoying that, and it's good to focus.
Yes, it's good to have something that is doing so much beneficial and positive for yourself and you actually enjoy. So that's always important, even for guys listening. It's always good to have something that is that for you as well. And
even if, like, let's say someone does want to get into running but they find it boring, just get a podcast on, your iPod or something.
Podcast.
Yeah, exactly. This is a very good podcast to listen to when you're running.
Yeah, it'll make you a piss boil. Oh, keep listening and it will.
But other than that, I actually managed to watch a really cool Netflix original film, which came out this year, called Shimmer Lake. This is such an absurd tone film. It's amazing. It's everything's played straight.
Okay.
But it's a comedy. And the film's played backwards in terms of days. So it goes Friday, then Thursday, then Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
So you're seeing how everything ended up how it is.
Oh, I see.
But it's still a mystery.
Okay.
And it's amazing.
Oh, so it's a bit like that Craig David song in some sense.
I wouldn't know what that song is.
No worries.
But and it stars Rainn Wilson, so obviously there's going to be some good comedy in this. I think if people might misunderstand what I'm saying, it's kind of like if you hybridized Memento and Fargo in a way. Like something like that. But something I want to say about it, which is really cool. So the director, who's called Orient, which sounds badass as fuck.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. He was the writer and director for this. He was also the writer for the Mortal Kombat kind of web series stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be writing the actual legitimate Mortal Kombat film.
Yeah, because they actually gave it to him, which was good.
Yeah. And the director of that is going to be a director for video game commercials, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting and slightly boring as well, because there might be a bit of a disconnect with... You're not necessarily making an advert, you are making a film, remember? Yeah. But obviously the argument of, well, it's basically an advertisement for the game can get blurred, but whatever.
Yeah, but they've got the right writer there and a director who seems to understand video games in a way. Yeah. So, yeah, I highly recommend Shimmer Lake.
That's usually, just as a quick point, where they sometimes fail for the most part when doing these adaptations, even with anime adaptations. Yeah. Just getting the blessing from the creator doesn't mean your film is gold.
It does not.
It just means the creator's getting a paycheck. And I'm not trying to say they're a sellout in any way. All I'm saying is...
They're making money from something they don't have to work on.
Exactly, because I finished my story. Yeah. If you want to make your dumb film, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Just let me know when my paycheck is in. Yeah. So I can go make some more.
Yeah, exactly. But I highly recommend watching the film Shimmer Lake. It is on Netflix, obviously. And I'm actually looking forward to the Mortal Kombat film.
Whenever Warner Brothers decides to do that, that can join the pile of those other 5 films which they've been working on for so long.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for me so far.
That's cool. I had a somewhat very eventful week for the most part. It was pretty crazy for the most part. I had to go back to the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Which was somewhat annoying. The only annoying thing about it was I had to go so late in the day. Yeah. And given the fact that I had to go into London, given some of the recent events that happened in London once again, particularly that exact same area, was a bit like, you know, and given the fact that the places I went to and that were, let's say, hotspots or whatever you want to say. But I had to go there to get an MRI scan, which was not really fun for the most part, but it was funny to some extent. You just got to just sit there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like there's can't do anything. But it was kind of funny because I was getting flashbacks to Dead Space 2.
Okay.
Step 1, crawl into the machine. Luckily, there was no needle or no.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil Dead Space 2, but yeah,
I think everyone knows the needle scene.
everyone knows. If not, look it up if you're not squeamish.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of like that. But it's a bit daunting because like I didn't go into the whole machine because that was great. But like that was my main worry. Like, I'm going that thing because it is small, and I'm not really a large or a tall kind of guy. But I was like, yeah, I don't really want that thing to break down, and I'm stuck in there like it's that episode of Scrubs.
Oh,
you
God.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I don't want. But luckily, it didn't happen, and it went all fine, and I'm waiting for results. So
Okay.
hopefully they'll be good.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's the thing. But I did watch a few films, which I'm gonna run through quickly. I watched about 5 films this this week, but I'm only gonna talk about 3. The first one I'm gonna talk about is Martin Scorsese's Hugo,
Okay.
which is his 2010 film, which is like the only time he ever dabbled in 3D, possibly the only time anyone of such class actually ever dabbled in 3D. I mean, James Cameron's made some good films, but I wouldn't say Avatar is class.
No. It's style above everything else.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah. Hugo, I was amazingly surprised how well done it was. I'm actually surprised I'm happy it won so many awards in that because it definitely deserved it for the stuff it did, but it's a very interesting film, which I was surprised what it's actually about. Because you see the poster and you see the kid and he's like, he's with the clock and you're like, oh, it's about time and stuff like that. And it's partly about time because the main kid character, he's in Paris, but he kind of mans the clocks inside a train station, which is kind of interesting. So he's able to see everything and be everywhere in the same place, and no one really knows he exists because in the film they do kind of say, as long as the clocks are still running, no one knows, no one cares, which is an interesting statement you could apply to some other kinds of things. But it was very interesting. It had a great cast. I was surprised to see some of the people in it. Sacha Baron Cohen is in it.
Wow.
Because Sacha Baron Cohen is a very underrated actor. I mean, everyone knows him for Borat and LEG, but like he can actually do some great roles, and he does play a very comedic role for the most part, but it's played very straight. Christopher Lee, Mr. Dracula, is in there, which is awesome. He plays a great character, and I was like shocked to see him, and a few other people who I think you recognize, but I won't spoil them all. But it's great. I mean, you had good kid actors as well in it, and it's a very interesting story. I'm not going to spoil what it's actually about because it's about 2 hours long. But all I'll say is, if you're a fan of films and film, definitely watch this film. And I'm not talking about like you like to watch film. I'm talking about film as a medium.
Yeah.
I would say watch this film because there's some great concepts and a great love for film in this film. But I won't say any more because I definitely want people to go and kind of realize what the film is about. Especially if you know a lot about film, you'll be very surprised and happy to see what the film actually becomes about. But it's very good. I mean, if you have kids and they are into film, and you have kids who have attention spans, and they probably like this as well because it's not quite. It's a film that everyone can enjoy. Family film, but everyone can enjoy it in some sense because it's got like somewhat deeper levels for the most part. The other film I watched was the 90s, 80s, I can't remember when it came out, classic The Crow.
1990s.
Okay, 1990s, I wasn't too sure, which is surprisingly good. I didn't think it would be as good as it was, given I was aged very well. Extremely well.
It's aged amazingly.
Yes. Very, very shocked at that fact. Brandon Lee is awesome as The Crow. And, I was surprised to see Ernie in there as well, and some other kind of people, and the fact that the film is not stupid in any kind of way.
Yeah.
And I was just, like, shocked. I mean, I can kind of understand why they tried to make a sequel, despite the fact no one wanted a sequel.
There's been, like, I think 3 sequels and a show?
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I've seen all of them.
Yeah,
you don't want to watch any.
Not to be rude to The Crow, it's one note.
Yeah.
You don't need to expand on that. No one cares after that. It's a straightforward ish story that gets its point across, and I mean I guess it's because the character of the Crow is just so likable and enjoyable to watch, and you can kind of see why Jared Leto ripped off that character so hard, but like because he did. He watches The Crow every day before he goes and auditions. But it makes sense, and I'm really happy the film. I mean, I know what happened with the second film. I know that was a producer. He fucked that film up. Let's be fair. He ruined like about 15 films in his career, and the remake, which probably isn't gonna ever get made because
I hope not.
They're gonna make it because eventually someone's gonna say, hey, the rights are running out. You need to hurry up. It's the same thing with Akira.
Yeah.
You know, they just keep, because Warner Brothers is so wealthy, they just keep going, here's another $1 billion. Now shut up. Shut up. We'll make it. You know, but it doesn't need to be touched. It's a perfect film in its own right. It's a cult classic. It's probably one of the most famous cult classics. I can understand that.
Yeah.
But everything about the film just works. It actually understands the aesthetic of dark without just reducing the saturation, bringing that saturation down from 100 to 0, you know.
It understands goth in the literal sense and in the like subculture sense.
Exactly, and it even has time to be funny for the most part, and it's a very quotable film for the most part.
It can't rain all the time.
Exactly.
Although for me it can. I want it to rain.
And it should.
Exactly. But I'll definitely say that like this film inspired me a lot as a kid. My first Halloween thing, I dressed as the Crow.
Everyone dresses as the Crow. It just goes back to the South Park episode.
But like literally, I knocked on like people's doors and I'd actually say, "You heard me rapping, right?" That I would do that all the time because I love the film so much.
And then you whipped out the shotgun and was like, "Where's my candy?"
Exactly. But also, I'd highly recommend, I think it's the third Crow film for one scene where Danny Trejo is doing a chicken dance.
Okay.
It makes no sense, but it's hilarious. But yeah.
Sounds it.
It's definitely one of my favourites as I was growing up, and I'm really happy you liked it.
I can understand, yes. I do. I really do enjoy it. And I detest the fact that they're trying to make a remake of it because it's just like, you won't get it. Yeah. You won't get it. I mean, The Cure is not going to do another song for you, simply put. And who are you going to get to do a song? Like, who's the next most emo? Horror? You're going to get Horror to do... You're going to get Drake? Is Drake going to be on this soundtrack?
Funny enough, Cure can't actually remember making Burn, the song. They can't. Every time people ask me about that, they're like, I can't remember making that song.
Probably because they made it in, like, one night.
Yeah.
Most likely, to send it off.
But it's crazy because the song's so good.
It's it's not on any album, which is a shame.
It's not. I think it's only on the soundtrack.
It's only on the soundtrack, so they should do to re-release that in some sense. But yeah, I don't know, it's crazy. And the other film I'll quickly mention, I mean, it's not really a film I need to talk about as much. It's Blade Runner. Yeah. I finally saw Blade Runner and really did enjoy it for the most part. I don't honestly have any issues with the film other than, I guess, the graphics, some of the matte paintings and the special effects are starting to show their age, but it's a given. It's an obvious given. Yeah. It's a fantastic sci-fi film that I think anyone can enjoy, but I can understand why someone wouldn't like it because they wouldn't get it. There is a new recent trend with a few films that have come out of late, and people are really giving them a lot of hate because they don't understand them, and it's kind of reminding me of films like Blade Runner and back in those times when someone actually put some thought into what they made, and then only not to say everyone who doesn't get it is stupid, but when people who actually take the time to think about it get it, and the people who don't just rip on it, it's quite annoying. But I loved a lot of the aspects. I liked oh gosh, I'm trying to remember the main character's name.
Decker.
Yeah, Decker. Love Decker. I loved like the main female lead because she's got bangs for days.
Yes.
And like the main villains are actually really interesting to actually just watch. Exactly. For the most part, it's like kind of refreshing to actually see likable villains and mystery. A film that doesn't hold your hand and answer every freaking question. The ending was just like, what? Yeah. Excuse, what? Can we get? Oh, okay. You're not gonna. Oh, yeah. It's gonna end. Okay.
And you're like, and the great part is that mystery is the point. Yeah. And it's like, that's amazing.
Yeah. You get the whole point of the film is you're not gonna get questions. You can't. You don't know.
And it's like, do the questions matter? No. Exactly.
And it's up to you to decide yes and no. And even depending on your answer, you're not gonna get them. Simply put.
And like, one of the most modern things that did something similar and people hated on is, I remember Inception. Like at the end, it's like, oh my god, but did the thing stop or not? And it's like, okay, that's not the point. No, it's that he doesn't care anymore. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and also it would have just been The Dark Knight Rises ending again. Yeah, exactly. So he was essentially forced to actually make an ending different, which we're not going to spoil either. But I mean, it's great. I mean, as opposed to the burning question of whether I'll actually watch Blade Runner 2049, no. Okay. Simply put, I'm not interested whatsoever. Enough. I mean, if you guys have seen Blade Runner and interested in 2049, I would say don't watch it and just go watch Ergo Proxy.
Okay.
Simply put, because it's way more superior than 2049. Honestly, because it actually does something with... If you want a weird, avant-garde continuation of some of the concepts in Blade Runner, just watch Ergo Proxy.
Okay.
Because it's somewhat very, very similar. And if you want to hear Radiohead play the opening song, then yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's pretty much all for me. I did watch some other films, but you find out about them soon.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna say. Maybe in a future review coming out very soon, but we'll see. So we can finally move on to our general stories now. Fortunately, because things just got so crazy after we wrote up this podcast, we now have to quickly go over two other things in order to kind of keep the flow and the length of the podcast the same. The first being the fact that, unfortunately, it was recently reported that Adam West, unfortunately, passed away not longer than 48 hours ago, which is extremely unfortunate to have such a legend pass away.
It was like really upsetting, I think, for both of us.
For everyone. I mean... Adam West is like such an inspiration, not just as the first live action or the first colored Batman or what the Batman 1966 stood for and what Adam West went on to do as being this cultural icon that somewhat signifies superheroes and that time period in a way, but it was just so out of the blue, and it was just so upsetting to have that guy pass away. I know there's a we are going to put like links in the description and the download link, which you can find everything and read everything from there. I think as the fact that he summarized himself as the Bright Knight is just like perfect, because I mean, given the recent situation with DC and how they mismanaged like the character, it's just like it is extra sad. I mean, also given the fact that when they were doing Tim Burton's Batman, they would not let Adam West near any conventions or any meetings because they strictly were like, no, it's not about you, it's not this Batman, it's a new Batman, it's an edgier Batman, which is just disgusting for the most part. I mean, because Adam West, his intention never was to forever be Batman, and you know, I mean, it got to the point where he called himself TV's Adam West, because he was known for that TV person. He was known for that guy who was just on TV that kids don't really know who he is. You know, he was never, and that's always kind of what I saw him. He was in Family Guy, for goodness sake, as well, and he had like a great role in that. I mean, granted, he has played like tons of other like superheroes and stuff, but like, it's because he understands that period of the superhero. He gets it. He is it in some sense.
I think like the thing I always remember is when I was watching Batman animated series. It was the episode The Grey Ghost, and it was all about like Batman's inspiration. And the Grey Ghost was voiced by Adam West, and that's where I first learnt about all of this. And it's that love of the legacy that I like. And when, like, you're saying about this whole thing of they were stopping him attending conventions during Tim Burton's Batman, it's really sad. It's depressing to me.
Because they wanted to let audiences know that it wasn't the same Batman, and, it was very unfortunate. Obviously, eventually they, weren't that strict about it because he was a cultural icon, but, like... It is very frustrating, and that's why if anyone wonders why I have such a hatred for DC as a company, let's just say as a soulless company, it's reasons like that. It's their massive throwaway culture. I mean, I know they're a comic industry and people do throw away comics, but the fact that they don't seem to appreciate anything anyone has done for them, and they just immediately move away. Granted, Marvel's kind of the same, where they didn't give people like Jack Kirby the rights they fucking deserve. But DC's is done exactly the same. Everything to do after Watchmen is a mess, thanks to DC. Everything. It's why I get frustrated. I'm not necessarily angry at... Well, I am angry at the film division, but it's what they don't understand and what they don't do that really frustrates me, and we're gonna most likely discuss that in a later video, but it's just like it's what's made the situation even sadder, because now that unfortunately Adam West has passed away, our thoughts go out to his family and everything. It's just kind of like DC has the reins to do whatever they want now with Batman, because no understanding their malicious intent, they probably think this is a good thing. But that's just DC. There's
probably someone in the higher ups who's like ready to cash in something.
But it always happens. I mean, exactly the same thing happened when oh god, I completely forget his name. I feel so bad. But when the original writer of Ghostbusters passed away, they immediately just went, right, time for the reboot.
Yeah.
You know, same with Disney. We're doing the Aladdin prequel and sequel now that Robin Williams is dead. It's just like, God, you couldn't wait. Same with Jumanji,
exactly.
Mrs. Doubtfire, all getting remade now.
Yeah.
It's just like, it is sad. I mean, I understand that is the nature of life. You have to move on. But at the same time, have a little bit of restraint, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I bet you any money there's going to be some stupidness coming from DC. But, you know, whatever. I mean, Adam West, best Batman.
Yeah, definitely best Batman.
Best Batman, obviously. Who was the Batman in Tim Burton's first one?
It was Birdman. I'm trying to remember his name.
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Yes, Keaton.
Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
And
I'd say I enjoyed Val Kilmer less.
I still enjoyed it. I think he did a great job with what he had to work with.
Fair enough.
But
I liked crazy Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton.
Yeah. And who's the other guy? Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Some of the best Batmans, I would say.
Although, like, the best voice actor, always Kevin Conroy.
Oh, yes. It's Kevin Conroy. But yeah, which is funny because, Kevin Conroy is in SpongeBob as Barnacle Boy, which is the obvious parody of Batman and Robin, which is very interesting that he kind of reprises his role. Same with, like, Adam West, you know, and doing, like, you know, Aquaman, you know, in that kind of sense. Which is
Mermaid Man.
Mermaid Man, yes, which is, you know, always interesting how things just kind of repeat themselves. But, you know, and unfortunately as well, we also have another death, because it seems like we almost 30% of this podcast is credited to
unfortunately
great people passing away, with slightly less known Mr. Peter Sallis, who unfortunately passed away aged 96, unfortunately. He died peacefully, though, with his family. He's best known, especially if you're English, for Last Summer of the Wine, and most famously as voicing Wallace in the Wallace and Gromit Aardman series, which, oh my gosh, just so sad to hear, because Wallace and Gromit holds a very special place in my heart as being probably one of the first time I was, like, massively and truly amazed with, like, animation I hadn't really seen before. I mean, obviously you guys can't see we're recording, but I have, like, the Wallace and Gromit original videos and the DVD. I also have some toys and some other merchandise you just won't see because they're just tucked away. But it's really sad to see, like, such a prime person of making that series so special, like, pass away, which is, it's unfortunate for the most part. I mean, because everything about Wallace and Gromit was great, you know, and his performance was fantastic because he really sold you on this old guy inventor and his dog, and it just worked. It's classic British.
It was pure British charm.
Yeah, exactly, for the most part. And I mean, even just if you have not seen the Wallace and Gromit shorts, you can watch them on YouTube.
Yeah.
So definitely start with The Grand Adventure and Wrong Trousers and Close Shave, and then Matter of Loaf and Death, and then you can watch the film and that. But I do like the progression that all three films go on. Like, we're gonna go to the moon, I created trousers, and oh damn, someone's snatching sheep.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. You know, it escalates perfectly.
And, like, every time it was on TV when I was a kid, I would have to watch it.
Oh yeah.
I loved the moon one, and as, like, a younger kid, the robot actually scared me a bit. But then as I got, like, literally a year older, I loved the robot. I was like, oh my god, it's so cool.
It is a cool design.
It's really tragic to hear this, but I love the series. It's great.
Yeah. It is good. I think definitely do yourself a favour and go and watch it if you've never seen them before, because you will not regret it.
Yeah.
Not unless you're one of those cynical American arseholes, then, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
America has the best media. Why would I watch this? You know, you're the reason why the industry's falling to the wayside for the most part. Now, one more quick update we've got to talk about, which literally just dropped, and that is the trailer for Black Panther, Marvel's kind of next superhero film, not including Thor.
Yeah, we got Spider-Man 4.
I'm not counting Spider-Man because he's not new.
Technically, Thor isn't new. He's already got 2 films.
But this is a new Thor, as we already discussed regarding the reboot.
There was always 4 in the Incredible Hulk film.
I bet you any money they, like, reboot. Well, we've already discussed the situation. But yeah, Black Panther is coming out at some point in 2018.
Yeah, I think it's 18.
Sorry, I'm just already prepared to forget 2017, and I think I'm living in 2018 to try and trick myself that this year is actually good.
Oh no.
So I almost said 2019.
I've appreciated some in 2017.
In terms
so
of
far.
films, no.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of average, but there are some good ones I've seen.
Yeah, that came out last year. I know.
I know, which is depressing. There's still stuff to come out, but
Yeah.
So yeah, the Black Panther film. We've got both Martin Freeman and Andy Serkis returning in
Gollum,
this.
yes.
Which, yeah, basically you got Bilbo and Gollum back.
Mm.
Obviously they were reprising their roles from Civil War and Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I forgot Martin Freeman was even in Marvel.
Yeah, well, he was in Civil War and it was like a bit part, but I knew why he was.
He has like some kind of relevance later on, I presume. Well, everyone has a place in the Marvel universe.
Well, the character's always been tied to Black Panther in the comics.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense, as has Andy Serkis' character.
Yeah, I know that much.
Yeah. But, so what we see here is like what the city of Wakanda looks like, the whole sci-fi futurist stuff, and that it's been hidden and protected from the outside world. Basically, it's like, yeah, it's the comic stuff. You got some very interesting design work, though.
Yeah, some of the costumes are nice.
Which, I've actually looked on the Twitter pages, some of the designers, and their inspirations go deep. It's nice, like specific tribes in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I can appreciate that.
I want to see some stuff where they actually like put on the mask of the demons they're haunted by. I kind of hope to see some of that stuff because some of that stuff looks freaky.
Yeah. But it looks like it's going to be a fine Marvel film.
Mm.
You know.
It looks okay.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because it's another situation being repeated once again, because people are ready to say best film of 2018 just based on the fact that I'm not going to sugarcoat or anything. It's a film that all stars black people in it. And people are going, well, yeah, it's fantastic. How dare you say it's not? Yeah. You're racist, right? If you don't think it's good. Why are you not excited for this film? You're racist, aren't you?
See,
that's why.
And that's why I specifically picked out Martin Freeman and Andy Serkis at the beginning. Because it obviously
but so you know you're being racist because you know for a fact, Ace, that they deliver the worst performances in the film because they're white. And white people can't act. And it's about time that the black person shows the white man how to act, because for all these years the white person never acted and it was always the black person, but the white person was. And this is stupid stuff that people actually say online. Yeah. This is not my opinion.
Well, it's like what you sent to me, and it was the whole thing of like Wonder Woman got its own like female only screening. Is Black Panther going to get its only black only screening?
No, correction. They said I want Black Panther to have a black person screening only. Brackets. No white.
Yeah. No whites allowed.
No whites. Some reverse 1940s, 60s stuff. Like, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
Someone was reading that Mallory Blackman Checkmate a little too hard there.
Yeah.
Great book, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really not looking forward to this film at all, just simply based on some of the social ideas regarding it. It could be a great film, and I'm not going to let that stop the film from being that, but I think it's just going to be the case of another film that recently came out where it's just average film is praised as being fantastic because black people.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Marvel knows exactly what the fuck it's doing.
Oh, of course they do. I think there was a very specific thing I was reading by someone, and they were saying that Marvel knows that they can just keep putting out like new stuff, but as long as they exotic it somewhat, and that was the exact words the person used, not mine.
Yeah.
And it's like,
although the correct term would be urban.
Urban, yeah.
You know, they could just go out and be like, yeah, we need to appeal to this nigger market, which I'm sure someone at Marvel probably says to some extent. Well,
the 8-year-old white guy in charge, he'll say it, and he's thinking he's all cool, and the people around him can't say anything because they get fired.
Well, apparently, yeah. But I'm sure that's the case. But expect to hear. You know,
it could be a good film.
Yeah, I'm not trying to rule out the fact. I'm just really not looking forward to all the BS, because we had BS with Wonder Woman. People going, we need a female only screening, and people going, no, you're not allowed to watch Wonder Woman. It's female. I want to see this film, and sorry sir, we have to turn away your money. This is a female only showing. Get out of here. You know for a fact, man, that you are the problem and you're trying to stop Wonder Woman. The only reason people don't like Wonder Woman is because they are white man.
This theatre is no man's land.
It's triggering me. The only bad thing about Wonder Woman was the fact that they were men in it. They were all bad in it. And it's a shame that Hollywood's like ruling of that. It's basically like speculation, because once again, it goes back to the idea that everyone, especially about that particular audience, just assumes everyone's out to get them.
Yeah.
You live in America. The only thing you need to worry about is the current president. Now shut up.
Yeah.
Simply put.
Well, and his vice president.
Yeah, well, he'll be dead soon.
Hopefully. Maybe we can electrocute him instead.
But yeah, it's like calm down, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to say that there isn't an issue between race and, you know, all this kind of like, you know, variety in that in Hollywood and all that kind of stuff, but screaming about it and not making any sense and just immediately going, no, but you're racist because you don't agree with me, isn't going to get you anywhere in life. Because you know what? If I was hiring and you started talking a bunch of Twombler bullshit, I wouldn't hire you. I would fire you immediately, because I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear any of that.
I think people need to be a bit more professional.
I think people need to be a bit more human.
Yeah.
Simply put.
Have empathy for people. Like,
you're treating races as aliens.
Yeah. This is gonna get into that cheesy shit. We're all just the same people.
Exactly.
Basically.
What did Michael Jackson say? He said, "Beat it." No, I'm joking. He said,
I think we should just do that.
All right, moving on. We get the point of the preaching of Michael Jackson. Remember, regarding race, beat it. Right.
So Nintendo decided to come out of the woodwork with their Nintendo Direct, and they specifically aimed this to be a Pokemon one. Mm-hmm. And what came out at the other end was not Pokemon, but pure salt.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So everyone was hopefully expecting a core Pokemon game on the Switch, you know, because it's a handheld / console hybrid.
Yeah, it would make sense.
It's perfect. You can take it anywhere. Mm-hmm. So what they did instead was re-release basically a deluxe version of Pokemon Tournament on the Switch.
Basically, Game of the Year edition.
Yeah,
with
basically
one new character and a few extra features and whatever.
Yeah, and apparently they're gonna add like a few more extra Pokemon as well.
Are you sure? They might run out of Pokemon if they do that.
I don't know.
They might have to start creating new ones in order to fill roles.
They've got over 600, you know. They're running out. So, which obviously people are like, okay, sure, fine, you know. I don't need to get a Wii U now, thanks. Then they decided to do it, and this was the salt, okay? Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Like, what the fuck is that shit?
I don't think anyone wanted that.
It literally goes back to the Gen 5 of, we've got the games, now we're just releasing Part 2. We're going to change some stuff, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's literally what this is. And again, this is my second least favourite, gen. And they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, because your least favourite is the originals, right?
No, Gen 5. That's my least fave.
Is it Diamond and Pearl? Or?
No, Gen 5 is Black, White, and Black 2 and White 2. Which, this is basically doing the exact same as them, to me. And
well,
I don't care.
We're not necessarily sure as of yet, because, I mean, I think I did enjoy the fact that at least they continued the story from Black and White. I would much rather have that than the same game with updates. At least there was something there. I
guess, but they didn't need 2 games.
No, we didn't need 2 games. What they should have done is they should have just had Grey, and that was the sequel to Black and White.
Exactly.
That's what I think. But I still think people give Black and White a hard time. It has issues, obviously, but I just think it was just. I think the idea was great. I think I like the fact that it was a continuation. I like the fact that the character from the first game still existed. I like the fact that everything happened. It wasn't just here's another take on Black and White.
Yeah.
You know, I like the fact that it actually did something with the story and stakes were higher. But, you know, play the game for yourself and find that out. But I kind of hope they do that with Sun and Moon.
Yeah. I mean,
I hope it's not just, it was the same game again.
They did say it's a new story. So I presume it's like a sequel story. And the characters do look mildly older, if I can remember correctly. I honestly can't.
Well, the only characters that would be somewhat relevant probably would have just changed their hairstyle.
Yeah, possibly. So
it could just take place a year after or a month after or whatever, given how the game ends. And
then they showed this, I can't remember, Lunala and Solgaleo.
The 2 legendaries.
Yeah, in their, this new form thing. And it literally reminded me of the Black 2, White 2, Zekrom Reshiram merged with Kyriam, whatever he's called.
Yes.
It was literally that again, to me. It's like, they're literally retreading the same ground.
And they shouldn't.
No, they really shouldn't.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with that, and a lot of people weren't, hence why it was Ultra Salt.
Yeah. But then there came a good announcement, and that was Pokemon Gold and Silver on the Virtual Console.
Yeah.
And you can put your Pokemon from that onto the bank, like with Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Yeah.
Cool. That's the best
fine.
thing.
I mean, it was all very disappointing, and it was extra disappointing because, given the fact that they've done directs that focus on one franchise and even one game better, being the Fire Emblem Direct, which actually announced new games and actually went into the detail of some of the other games, and then the whole one they did just on ARMS, and they explained everything to do with ARMS, and that was like way more interesting. It's a big shame because as of right now, I guess Nintendo is partly making it very clear that they want the Wii U to be worthless.
Yeah, because they're literally moving everything onto their other consoles.
Which is like, great, guys, thanks for that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not really needed. You need to kind of hurry up. That's why I hope they announce something original, or original things at E3. They really need to, not unless they're just not gonna, and just gonna drop games out of nowhere without any
Well, they're
real
going to
announcement.
be showing more Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. They said that. And I think some Pokemon, like Pokemon Tournament.
But that's not Switch.
No, I agree. Like, literally, okay.
We all know the 3DS is a great system and has great games, and, you know, we know it's a good system.
Yeah.
That's fine. You don't need to worry about the Switch. Sorry, the 3DS anymore. You need to worry about the Switch now.
But also, like, the 3DS is 6 years old.
Yeah.
Almost. Like, I think it's a few months off. But, and, you know, they're not focusing on their new thing.
No.
It's quite troublesome.
Yeah, and also, there was supposed to be, like, rumours that, like, Fire Emblem Valentia was going to be, like, one of the last 3DS games. But I guess that's not the case anymore. Because, weirdly enough, the spine of that game changed.
Oh, really?
So it's different. So I'm not sure what's happening there. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of cross system or an update to 3DS or whatever. But it's annoying. Yeah. It's annoying because Nintendo really could have just been like, hey, here's a brand new game for the Switch that has nothing to do with anything else. And here's Colosseum 2.
Yeah, I would have bought that.
Here's
I love Colosseum.
Stadium Remix.
Here's new Pokemon Snap.
Exactly.
That can be cool.
Yeah, here's something. Maybe they're gonna unveil that at E3.
Maybe.
We are recording while E3 is going on. But
Yeah.
So maybe that already happened. So I don't want to see it.
Oh, Nintendo's on Sunday, I think.
You were just thinking
Or Monday.
something like that. Yeah, but it's just like, yeah, who knows? Who knows? Ah, well. Let's move on to our next story. This is going to be like our second of like almost 4 trailers, but the next one we're going to be talking about is Murder on the Orient Express, which, for anyone who doesn't know, it is based on the Agatha Christie series of the same name, following Mr. Poirot.
Yes.
And, boy. Now, am I the only person who kind of feels that, how do I put this? Am I the only person who thinks the only person who should have remade this is Wes Anderson?
Yeah, Wes Anderson would have done amazing.
His style would have been very interesting given his previous work and how he works so well on like period like pieces and quality. I mean, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, is amazing.
Which is a great film. Moonrise Kingdom, even Fantastic Mr. Fox to some extent. That is a very based in the past kind of film. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that he's not behind this film. Maybe he turned it down, maybe he's not interested, maybe they didn't even bother to ask him, but
even the aesthetic quality of how he used the camera, like very left,
right. They are ripping his style off really hard.
It would work perfectly with Wes Anderson.
I honestly do feel that they are like actually ripping off his work big time, because someone watched the Grand Budapest Hotel and went, that would be perfect for Orient Express. That made, I'm not sure how much that film actually made, but that film was really popular with people, and we have a film that's exactly like that, Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, like the 1974 one is great and a classic,
and the ITV one is great as well because it has like the best looking Poirot. But like, it's so over dramatic to the point where it becomes funny.
Can I say the bit that got me the most?
Okay.
As soon as it turns around and shows Poirot with that fucking awful moustache.
His beard looks really... His beard game is weak. His moustache game is weak.
It's hilarious. And it's so dramatic. And like, and you're like, no.
And also, a lot of people pointed out, why does he say probably?
Yeah, I'm probably the best detective.
He is. In terms of where the story's coming from, he is.
Yeah.
Of his time. It shouldn't be probably. It should...
Well,
I am.
They don't want to piss off Sherlock fans because it's ribbing that style as well.
No, but in theory, Sherlock never existed because he always remained a fictional character in some continuity.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Poirot could have technically existed given the fact that he just could have, given how the stories were written. So yeah, he in theory should be the greatest detective in the world, and given a lot of the stories written about him, he kind of is to some extent. But, yeah. So, the silly cut where it shows Johnny Depp's character and the woman and then, like, stock footage scream.
Yeah.
Like,
that was
come on, guys. That's a no-go. The really, really dumb shot of it moving down the corridor, essentially letting you know who the cast are as they take turns to talk about things. And they visually show you their names or what you're supposed to call them because... they have no character and the film thinks you're dumb is really insulting.
The thing is, that could have been brilliant in like a point-and-click adventure game.
Yeah.
That could have been great. Even the style of just walking down that for the opening of a game, that could be great.
Yeah.
But in the film, it's so not needed.
It doesn't work. The shot moves way too slow and like realistically, a bunch of random people would not all calmly say... it wasn't me. I was doing... No. Someone would freak out. Someone would look suspicious. Someone would outright be doing this and that. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the point. I get the film doesn't understand the story and they're going, everyone's a suspect. So everyone's acting suspicious. No, they wouldn't because innocent people aren't suspicious.
Yeah.
Simply put, there are at least... I can't remember how many people are in this story. Let's say 8 people who can sit very comfortably.
Yeah. They just sit like, I'm chill.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
And Poirot would be like, it probably wasn't him or her.
And there's that one guy being very extravagant, like, it wasn't me.
Pulling at his college, like, no, I saw it wasn't me. And then I go,
Johnny
doubt.
Depp.
Yeah. That guy doesn't look suspicious whatsoever.
Just press the doubt button, then you start shouting at
him. Exactly. And then the trailer kind of does the cardinal sin, which essentially kills all, if any, kind of mood and tension, and it ends with Imagine Dragons, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, this must be new Imagine Dragons album because I can't remember that song, and that was so out of place.
It killed the whole film.
It really did.
It just destroyed it. It was just like, that was not needed.
I agree.
Like, is this you trying to appeal to children?
And I've noticed this a lot, like trailers having music that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Because there's this trailer for a game called Elex. Mm-hmm. And the trailer, it's a science fantasy game, like open world adventure role playing. But they've got this really weird breathing music where it sounds like Darth Vader's having a problem while a beat plays, and it doesn't match at all. And who thinks these kind of things work?
I mean, you have to remember, if we're going to talk about games, there's usually trailers cut for people who would actually be interested in the game, and then there's trailers that are cut for TV. But
this is such a niche game, so it makes no sense.
But that's my guess as to what they were trying to do is, hey, this is the domestic trailer or something like that.
Yeah.
You see it a lot of the time. I remember Resident Evil 6 had some very terrible ones. One that actually made me laugh because you had like this very... emotional kind of playing kind of trailer, and then like you had the guy literally go, and in a very similar tone of voice go, Resident Evil 6 out on Xbox One, and it was just like, and I think me and my friend were like, why does he sound so depressed about that?
It's because he had to say Resident Evil 6.
Yeah, because usually with the trailers they're like, Sony's like, the best platform, PS4, get it, $27.99, Yeah, he was literally like, Resident Evil 6 out on Xbox One, and it was just like we had to look up that trailer on like YouTube to try and find it because it was so bizarre.
That sounds horrible.
It was horrible. I mean, I love Agatha Christie's work with Poirot and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, but this is really just sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of my favorite detective stories. I mean, I'm not going to see it because I know what happens in it, unless they're going to do some dumb twist and be like, oh, it's actually them instead.
Don't worry, the director's going to think they're smarter, so they're going to change everything.
Yeah, Poirot did it.
That's what I was going to say. It's going to end up that it's Poirot, but that's not actually Poirot. That's someone pretending to be Poirot.
Guy wearing a mask.
That's why the moustache shows shit. Because it's not actually Poirot.
He got the moustache from Fake Wigs and Jokes Emporium.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a very obscure reference, if you get that.
But it's going to turn out that Johnny Depp's actually Poirot. I'm not kidding. If that fucking happens, I called it here.
I really hope not, because that'd be really, really dumb, and you might as well just call it something else. Yeah, this film, there's nothing really to say. I mean, I guess the only reason they're remaking is because Sherlock's popular, but that train died a long time ago, and I'm not talking about...
Season 4.
I'm not talking about Season 4. I'm talking about you should have made this film 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Not now.
I agree.
Like, once again, Fox must be just so out of touch with what its audience wants that they are just desperate to find anything that has a recognizable name. What 12-year-old is going, Murder on the Orient Express, my favourite story, adapted on film? No kid's doing that.
Yeah.
If your kid is doing that, then they are either very academically educated and possibly very stupid.
Yeah.
But
which can happen.
It can happen, yes. You can have educated people with piss poor taste.
Yeah, me as a kid, you know, like, I mean, I like some good things, but I like some shit things too.
No, this happens when you're a child, but, you know, whatever. I mean, it's just really, obviously, needless to say, I won't be seeing this film.
No, I
Simply
won't.
put, no one should see this film. Fox needs another failure, because Fox needs to try, and that's something they are doing nothing of recently.
They want to play safe.
Oh yeah, they're playing so safe. It's not even funny. Which kind of segues to our next section, which I believe you have, which is someone who necessarily isn't really playing it safe for the most part.
Yeah. So Neill Blomkamp, he creator of District 9, Elysium, and Chappie, which I really loved. District 9 and Chappie, they were great. He's come out with a very, mysterious kind of thing called Oates Volume 1 by Oates Studios.
Yeah.
And it's another one of his very kind of sci-fi
horror,
low-tech kind of stuff, which I love. And it looks so interesting. The effects are amazing.
Yeah, that's one thing that was very bizarre about it. It's like, it's hard to tell whether it has a budget or it's utilizing its possible small budget extremely well, or they have some very talented people, because we don't see too many special effects in this. We see these very interesting lizard alien creatures which look very good, and we see like the Eiffel Tower is covered in like moss, and we see like this weird gelatinous, most likely nanomachine thing floating behind some guy, and it's interesting because it looks better than a lot of TV series right now that are going for this, e.g. The Mist.
Yeah. And
The Mist has a budget, because I checked.
Jeez.
And needless to say, despite the fact there are no real stars in this, they spent most of the budget on the quote-unquote stars. That's what I'm going to guess. But
like, that's the thing, even looking back at his past work, like District 9, which I believe came out 2009, the effects on that are still pretty damn good.
They're pretty good because they have style.
Yeah.
And there isn't anything that looks like, let's say, that ship and those creatures without spoiling too much.
And then like, even in Elysium and Chappie, the motion for those robots are so good. I'm honestly not sure what bits are like mocap or if there's people wearing costumes.
It's the same with Chappie as well. It's very hard to tell when Chappie is real and not real, because they used a ton of practical effects to blend that seamlessly.
It's amazing, and he can get away with these great effects on smaller budgets, which really helps.
Yeah, and it seems like it's going to be helping this a bunch of shorts, which are going to be able to stream on Steam, interestingly enough, which is a gaming platform. So Steam does have like films and TV shows you can buy, but this is probably going to be their bigger, more interesting one as of now, because it's the only thing they have right now. I mean, it's very interesting. It's very cryptic so far, obviously, but we have those lizard aliens. We have like zombie soldiers, and other really weird things, and we don't necessarily know what's going on. But it's interesting enough for me to actually want to give it a shot, and I do kind of hope it's good for the most part, because Neill Blomkamp's kind of had a rough time since Chappie, because Chappie wasn't too well received, and not doing Alien 5 anymore, which I couldn't have thought of a better person to work on Alien, honestly.
He would have been great.
Yeah, because the problem is he was going to do his own thing, and Fox isn't interested in that.
Yeah, they just want the same thing again.
The only reason Alien Covenant exists is because there was no alien in Prometheus. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But, that's really it. Just a bunch of businessmen, much like Ridley Scott himself, just basically going, we need this in the film, we need that in the film, for the next film we need more of this and that. Audiences didn't like the film. What should we do? Throw in more alien.
Yeah.
People didn't like the fact that there was only one alien in Alien Covenant, so in the next one you put 3.
So dumb.
It's bad, but hopefully his nature of kind of returning to his shorts and kind of working on something a little bit more condensed might actually help him stay creative and bring out something good. So I really do hope it's actually good for the most part, and I'd like to actually have more people get interested in it, because sci-fi is very lacking as of right now. There's hardly anything good sci-fi happening, and trust me, you ain't getting it from Star Wars.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got Star Trek Discovery coming out, which I think we talked about, it's got its minor problems.
But we didn't talk about it on the podcast.
Okay.
We talked about it online for the most part.
But I'm still looking forward to the show in general.
They messed up the whole aesthetic, but sure, the story could be great.
Yeah, they could have some good stories. But yes, I definitely think this is kind of like a middle finger up to the Alien. In a little way. Yeah,
because it looks like it's going to be... The trailer is, way more interesting than Alien Covenant.
Yeah. For
the most part, because you're like, oh, interesting creature I know nothing about that I might possibly be scared of because I don't know what its intentions are.
Exactly.
I mean, as many people have proved, the alien, the xenomorph, seems to be very... Given what the films seem to present, they seem to be quite the inferior species.
Yeah.
So why certain people seem to be so interested in them is really baffling.
Yeah, it's
doesn't have fucking eyes.
It's made a lot less sense as it's gone on.
After 2, it was like, what?
Yeah.
Has no eyes.
It has no eyes and it must see.
It sees somehow, but every time we do a POV, it has eyes.
Yeah, it has. It doesn't make much sense. I mean, maybe it senses the electromagnetic spectrum.
No, it shouldn't, because it has a POV shot twice in the canon.
It doesn't make too much sense at all.
That's what happens when you take someone's good idea and you ruin it.
Yeah.
Simply put, stop looking for those gigabooks. Stop it. I know you bought the whole collection, but it's time to stop.
Yeah, Necronomicon 4 was too good. Leave it alone.
Yeah. Just leave it be. H.R. Giger made some pretty other terrifying ideas. You want to do something with that?
Yeah.
I mean... Come on, guys.
I mean, talking about other things they should do instead.
So, so interestingly enough, before E3 actually happened, we got a surprise announcement, and that was the fact that everyone's not favourite mascot character, Bubsy the Bobcat, is apparently returning with the Woolies Strike Back. Now, interesting enough, being such a notorious character for having some of the worst games / worst platformers in gaming history, being Bubsy, Claws of Encounters of the Third Kind, Bubsy 2, simply Bubsy 2, Bubsy in Fractured Fur Tales, and Bubsy 3D Forbidden Planet. As well as a character design that makes absolutely no sense. He's a bobcat cat that wears a shirt with a question mark on it, and he glides / flies.
I think the question mark shirt is supposed to be a joke on Madman's, kind of lightning bolt-ish thing, but...
It was supposed to be because he's a fucking mystery.
Maybe, I don't know.
How does he glide?
Bobcats glide nowadays, apparently. They've been drinking that Red Bull.
I guess. He's only famous as being a terrible mascot, and now he's returned with his original studio accolade, and they're back with a new game on PS4 and PC, and it's just like...
And the game looks shit?
Yeah, let's get this out of the way. Yeah, the game looks terrible. It looks really ugly. Bubsy's model looks terrible.
I mean, they've always looked ugly.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you could make it look uglier.
The only good thing is like his redesign on the trailer box art, which slightly fits him a little better because someone who can draw actually did that.
Yeah, I guess.
At least it doesn't play like Bubsy 3D. I'll give it that.
The best 3D game.
But what makes me really angry is the fact that someone founded and brought back Bubsy and Accolade through just pure nostalgia and nothing else. I guess, and also very baffling because I don't think anyone was actually asking for him to return, but he did in a possibly ironic way. And what makes me even angrier is characters in games like Jumping Flash, Earthworm Jim, and Gex, Tombi, and Klonoa have no love. No one is interested in bringing these games back, despite the fact there is actual love and interest in the characters. But no, you brought back something that is notorious for being terrible, and no one will really buy. Yeah. This is a joke.
What about a Billy Hatchet redesign? That could be cool. But no, fucking Bubsy.
Sega has plenty of characters they could reincorporate in other situations, but someone funded Bubsy, and it does make me really angry because it's just like no one was asking for this. It's like the film industry. No one wants any of these remakes. No one was really clamoring for these sequels and remakes except for people who are very depressed and want to be reminded of their childhood.
Yeah.
I like Jurassic Park, so I'm going to see Jurassic World, and I love the film because it reminded me of the first one.
We still need to do a commentary Jurassic World.
Yeah, we do.
Because, oh boy.
The film was terrible, and I haven't seen it.
It's funny.
It's really bad. It's really annoying. There isn't really much to say about this because I'm pretty sure after this podcast gets uploaded, people just forget about Bubsy once again. I don't think anyone is going to be going, yeah, he's back to the... there's nothing good you can say. If the game comes out, it's good, fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. If it most likely isn't,
they're
probably not even going to make the game good because part of what makes the character
memorable
is that he's surrounded by terribleness.
Yeah.
I mean... It's pretty bad. I mean, I'm going to end it with this just to put it in perspective. You kind of messed up when making an anthropomorphic character when there isn't even that much porn on the character. You fucked up. And I checked just to be to comparison. Yeah, no. I was just like, wow, there is like no love for this character. And yeah, there's more love for some of the other characters I mentioned in that retrospective. And Jumping Flash is a robot, by the way. And yes, there is more interest in Jumping Flash in that terms than Bubsy.
That's weird.
It's just to prove a point.
Yeah.
An audience that would love him doesn't care that much about him.
That's so strange.
Yeah. It says a lot to some extent.
Yeah.
Ridiculous for the most part. But oh boy, right. It's annoying. It's so annoying. But yeah, that is going to bring us to our discussion for this podcast now, which is kind of an interesting one because this podcast is essentially going to be falling, give or take, roughly at the midway point of 2017. So we thought it'd be interesting to kind of go through some of our highlights and disappointments of 2016 so far. So this is essentially going to be the best and the worst of 2017 so far. But we're only going to be picking one thing because we're not going to do like a whole podcast on it. One good thing, one bad thing for the most part, just in case there's anything you guys forgot about or anything we're really interested in, something that'll definitely make the list or whatever. And also, if you guys want to tune in with your one or two or good or bad thing, definitely you can drop a comment in the YouTube description. You can also email us at raccoonplusfriends.gmail.com. Obviously, you can find all the links to our social network and all that kind of stuff within the download link, which you can... download this whole podcast. You don't even have to watch the YouTube video. You just download it straight there. You just see it in your subscription feed, straight onto your iPod, and then when you go and jogging, you can listen to it.
Exactly. Definitely.
That's how you do it. It's smart.
Yeah.
It's smart. But let's kind of go back and forth with it. So we do the best and we do the worst back and forth. Okay. So Ace, we'll do your best and we do mine best after.
Okay, so my best so far, and I'm going to talk about video game because... It's nice to talk about video games on this video game podcast.
Yeah, I get nostalgic when that happens.
So the best game I've played this year is Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's despite my flaws, which I've talked to you about and a bit on the podcast. Like, sometimes it gets way too scripted and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the gameplay. the mixture of like social simulator in a way with RPG dungeon crawling and time management.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I love it. Gotta love the design, the music. Almost all of it is great. Like, it's probably one of the best games I've played in a while. And I highly recommend everyone to get this because there's very little I can say.
If you have a PS4 and you like RPGs, you
Yeah.
should be playing it right now.
Definitely. Obviously, it's like 50, 60 quid in some places.
Yeah.
So you might have to wait for it to
It's
go down.
even more expensive on the PS3 because it was in very low print for the PS3.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen it cheaper on PS3. Like I saw somewhere it was being sold for like 40 quid or something.
I've seen it for 55.
Damn. That's crazy.
Because you have to remember, the gaming industry is so starved for good games that when a good game comes out, everyone
Yeah.
wants to play it.
No, it's
So
true.
copies get bought up real quick.
That's why, like, at the moment, like, mostly I've been playing indie games, and they're really fun, but it was good to have a mainstream, like, big game that I loved.
Oh yeah, it's probably going to be like one of the last good AAA games that come out this year, I think.
Possibly.
Next to Ni no Kuni 2.
I've still got, like, The Surge just came out, and I'm still looking forward to that, but I'm waiting for it to go down a little in price.
That's middle market, and it looks fun.
Yeah.
It's got some great ideas to it.
Exactly.
It's just cool, but that's good to hear. I mean, most likely Persona 5 is going to be making a lot of best of lists. And
Yeah.
probably going to be one of the most memorable things of 2017, just for the sheer fact it's a good game, and it's infamy and, style, pretty much. Yeah, I guess I'll do my one. So I'm going to pick an album this time, because we never really talk about music on this podcast. And the album I'm going to pick is probably one that's most likely going to be in my top list, and that's going to be Mac DeMarco's This Old Dog, which is an album I was extremely surprised by, given some of the tracks he dropped off it, and the sheer use of him kind of using a little bit more of a synthesized electronic kind of influence, along with his guitar playing and singing, as well as having slightly darker themes, surprisingly enough, on this album, especially regarding his a lot of strong theme with death as well, and his father as well, because he doesn't quite get along with his father for the most part. But yeah, there is a somewhat running theme with death, even given the fact that he released a music video for one of the songs on the album, and it does have him kind of being friends with death, like a very comical puppet that you just kind of float around, and he's just kind of chilling with death. And over the course of the video, like, Mac DeMarco is on his death, and he's like, "Come on, Def, we've been friends for so long. Just do me and just get it over with," and that kind of thing. That's kind of just Mac DeMarco's kind of style, and it does get quite sad, especially songs like Moonlight on the River, which utilizes synth music and electronic music very interesting, and it's very interesting to hear that on the album, as well as the final song of the album, where Mac DeMarco is essentially talking about the fact that despite the fact he doesn't get along with his dad, doesn't like his dad, it's still, in his words, it's still sad to watch him fade away, despite the fact he died.
Damn.
Despite the fact he doesn't like him, it's sad to actually see someone he didn't care about just die.
Yeah.
Which is quite sad. I think a lot of people can relate to that, but there are a lot of, like, fun and very interesting moments on the album. It is a fun-ish album, but there are those kind of sad themes for the most part, but it is very enjoyable, and I don't really have any other complaints other than a few songs don't really have choruses, which is a bit weird because the choruses don't make sense, especially with one song where he kind of goes to, let's say the chorus / title of it, and he kind of just doesn't continue it, which is a bit weird, but doesn't really take away too much from the album. I still really enjoy it. It's probably going to be one of my favorites. As of right now, it's ranked number 2.
Okay.
I'm not going to say what number 1 is. That's going to remain a surprise until the end of the year, or until it's knocked off. But as of now, it has not been knocked off. And no, it is not Gorillaz Humans. That's not even on my top 10.
Wow.
No, it got knocked off a long time. Damn. But so that's my best. So moving back to you, Ace, with worst.
So, this is quite sad to say, because I started off really enjoying it, and then it just fucked itself and shat the floor. Okay. And that was Ukulele. Oh, yeah. It starts off so nice and charming, and the gameplay is pretty sweet, but then all the problems start settling in. The camera keeps getting caught in the environment, and this is post-patch. Then there are a lot of times when the camera will switch to a fixed angle. So whenever you get at that fixed angle, you keep jumping backwards and forwards because you're still pressing up, so then it makes you move back up. into the fixed angle, which is horrible.
That's something that could have very easily been resolved.
Yeah. You continue going the way you're doing it until you stop pushing the button. That could have worked. But that wasn't patched in. Another massive problem is it gets, the 5th level in the game is the easiest level. The 4th level is the hardest level. It's also the most bullshit level. The bosses are just randomly placed. So one time I ran into a boss without knowing it was the boss and I just won. I thought it was just a side mission. And later I found out that was the boss and I was like, oh, okay.
So you were able to run past it, or did you
Oh no, I just beat it.
Okay.
It was so easy. I thought it was just a side mission.
Alright.
And then on another one, you've got a fucking awful boss. And it's on this mini-game section. And that mini-game is bullshit whenever it turns up. Because you're on a cart. And the controls on the cart are so fucking awful. So it constantly creates troubles. And there are specific, collectibles that are tied into these mini-games. So it just hurts. And then another thing, during all the boss battles, there is no way to regain health. Like in other areas where you'd find butterflies and you can eat them for health. Just none anywhere. So when you're on a boss battle and it's 6 phases long, and there's no way to regain any health, and there's bullshit bits where you can easily just get hit and then take another hit. That's awful. And also during that boss battle I'm talking about, I got hit in a fucking cutscene. Yes.
Really? What?
Yes. The game stops and it does a whole talking thing and then the character flies off, and because the character came in contact with mine, I took damage. That's bullshit.
What game did that this year as well, where it had the same thing?
I know during Mass Effect Andromeda, during conversation,
you can just die.
Yeah, you can get shot to shit. Which, that never happened to me, luckily, but I've seen it happen.
I think it might have been, that's the game I'm actually thinking of, which was just absolutely terrible.
Now, also, sometimes you can see enemies in the distance, and they're doing the T-pose, just hovering around.
No, not the T-pose.
Yeah. This game lagged on every loading screen. I've never seen a game lag on a loading screen.
But the point of a loading screen is to avoid such issue and actually load things in.
Yeah. Then, throughout a lot of the game, it might freeze for a frame, and then you're just thrown off course, because you don't know. So, a lot of times I've taken damage or fallen into things, because the frame just froze. And there was one more thing I wanted to say, and I can't remember what it is now.
Get it all out.
Shit. It was definitely something Mass Effect Andromeda related. I can remember that. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, there are some unskippable cutscenes.
Unskippable cutscenes, you were saying.
So it's bullshit, and the dialogue gets annoying when it's forced. I remember it. Okay. There is some awful dialogue in this. Okay. It's trying to be self-aware, jokey parody at points, but it comes off as pathetic and unconfident. And it's sad to see. It's really sad.
Given the current situation of the game industry and what the game is about and what this game is parodying and what it stands for, yes, I can see that.
A lot of times it's like, oh, we're not going to do this boring mini-game, are we? And then it's a boring mini-game. And you're like, oh.
It was the same thing with the beginning of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Yeah. Where they just didn't get it.
Yeah. And I'm really sad to say this about this game, because when I started playing it and I was jumping about and, just collecting some quills, it was really fun. And then the 5th level, I really liked that level. And I felt so free and happy. But then the bullshit just piles back. And you're like, how? How did this happen? So, that's kind of on my worst because of it. There was good in there and then it just fucks itself over.
That's sad to hear.
It really is.
I mean, I like a lot of the characters. I think a lot of the characters are wonderfully designed, and I think a lot of the areas and a lot of the ideas are definitely very creative. I mean, Trouser.
Yeah, Trouser is amazing. His voice, I don't care. If you can't skip it sometimes, I don't care because I still love it. His design is great. His character is great. He's one of the best things, and I am happy he exists.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And I still love Capital B just as a concept.
Oh, he's a great looking like villain. I like Yuka and Laylee. I think they are definitely very cute little characters as well.
And a sad thing, it's clearly sequel baits at the end. Yeah.
No real need for that.
Like it name drops this like, oh no, new villain group, and then end. And you're like, oh.
No need for that.
No, there really wasn't.
No, you don't really need to do that. I mean, granted, Gruntilda said she would be back.
Yeah.
But still,
yeah.
Gruntilda from Banjo-Kazooie, just in case you guys are wondering. But not really any need for that, honestly.
No.
It's something you could hint in an image later on.
Like, they already kind of slightly hint it earlier. And that was fine. That worked. I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But then they forced it so much at the end.
You could have just left clues.
Exactly.
You are the Chaotix.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Just as an example.
I completed the game 100%. Some bits I wish did not exist because they were actually frustrating. And I just leave the game on in the background for an hour or two just to calm. Because I wasn't going to turn the game off, have to turn on the PS4, wait for that to load, wait for the game to load and lag and load, and then to go through the Playtonics 10-second logo, which you can't skip. I wasn't going to do that.
Jeez.
So I just left it on, and then 2 or 3 hours later I'd come back and try it again.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of a friend who literally left his Xbox on because he knew that when he got up, he was going to be playing Xbox.
Yeah.
So he was online for like a good couple hours, and I remember I think he fell asleep while we were in a party chat.
Yeah.
And then because I coincidentally got up early and was playing.
Yeah.
And then like I believe he was somewhat awake because he let me into the party and he was just silent for 4 hours and he was like, "Oh man, I'm tired," and he just got back up and I was like, "Dude, where have you been?" And I was like, "Oh, I went to sleep."
Yeah.
He just slept and just left his Xbox on. And somehow I think he was somewhat conscious aware. But that was back when we were playing Borderlands and all that kind of stuff, and it was like, Borderlands is my life. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a quick tip to anyone that does want to play ukulele and get the best out of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest going to each world, like as fast as possible. You want to go through the worlds to get every upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And to do that, you want to get some collectibles in each world. Just do the ones that are easy enough, fine. Then when you've got all upgrades, just go around, have fun exploring. Leave the ones that are annoying till last. And even if you want, just ignore those. Because some are so bullshit that I actually started hating and wanting the designers to issue an apology. Because they were awful. So that's my tip. Go through the levels, have your fun, go to the next level as soon as possible to get the upgrades. Once you've got all the upgrades, go to the next level. And again, until you've got all the levels open. That's my tip.
Strong words.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you feel that passionate about it, it's perfectly fine. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, I've yet to play this game, but I've heard very conflicting things about the game. But we'll see what happens as time passes for the most part. I guess it's time for me to do my worst, and my worst is going to be a film this time around.
Okay.
And it's going to kind of have a slash to it, but the worst is, probably the worst film I've seen this year is going to be Illumination Sing.
Oof.
Like,
yeah.
This film is extremely frustrating. Here's where the slash comes. Yeah. Because it is quintessentially like ruining any kind of foundation of good animation.
Yeah.
One thing that does kind of bother me is when people... Let's take your favorite pretty boy YouTube reviewer, basically.
Yeah.
Whenever they do their best of the year countdown, they never put any animated films on there because they credit animation as it's for kids and that kind of stuff. And that stuff does frustrate me, especially when you do have a lot of animated films that are for everyone that come out and everyone can enjoy, then are good, and films that are for adults and stuff like that, and they never get the attention. It's always just, that's a kid's film, that's for kids. I watch intellectual films. Yeah. I'm this film is about this, and that does frustrate me. Granted, if you're not interested in animated films, fine, whatever. But if you're going to sit there and go, I love films and I understand it, and you're not gonna give anything that looks like children stuff a chance, then you probably aren't doing your job right for the most part, especially if you won't acknowledge it. But Sing is a really bad film for a lot of reasons, and most of them come from the fact that its animation and what it stands for is 100% flawed in every freaking way. Because the problem with it is that there are things that could have worked in the film. And there's other things that don't make sense. I would say the only things I liked in this film were some of the ideas and what they could have done with some of the characters.
Yeah.
The porcupine character had potential to be a really, really strong design, but they didn't go far enough with the character, and they kind of left it for other artists to essentially add personality and design to the character. She's supposed to be a rock punk chick, but they never got that far.
Yeah.
So there's other people who have drawn her as more of a radical kind of character in that sense. There's other just throwaway stuff which are just fun little designs that they could have done more with. Like, for example, during the infamous audition scene where you can see where all the money went through for the licensing of the songs, and the main reason why the film would be so profitable, because they did exactly the same thing that 20th Century Fox did with Alvin and the Chipmunks. That stuff turns over a profit because it always leads in other sales that help out the music industry, basically. One scene where one of the auditions is by a kangaroo wearing a pink jumpsuit. She then pulls out her child who's in a pink dancing dress and has her sing, and then when they don't get through, they're like, "You were gonna be a star," and they messed you up. And I'm like, that could have been something, because that's kind of funny. And they also have like these really weird red pandas who are like J-pop stars, and they sing in "Carry Carry Pomu Pomu," you know, and stuff like that. And I was like surprised they even knew who she was. And it was just like, you could have done something with that to some extent. That's like kind of funny, but they just wasted it all. And there's other things that just don't make sense at all, like the mother pig character who wants to sing, because almost all the characters want to sing. Because she's so busy being a stay-at-home mother, she essentially, and she can't leave, and no nanny will look after her 25 children. Pigs don't have that many kids,
no, they
just
don't.
to let you know.
It's like 6, maybe 7.
They'll have 6 to 9 kids. They don't have 25, especially not all the same age. So she wants to go out and go to the audition and sing and all that. So essentially, she creates a Pee Wee Herman-esque entrapment that essentially wakes them up and gets everyone out the house. And it left me thinking, because I was like,
why does she sell that?
Why is she? Okay, if you want to sing, that's fine, but you're obviously some kind of engineering genius, given the fact that they established she does this over the course of one night.
Fucking hell.
She builds contraptions that opens the windows, plays a voice recording, has a moving system around the table that pours the milk and the cereal simultaneously to precisely hit the bowls, and then has the machine clean itself up. And she wants to sing?
You could sell that, and then you could just do whatever you want.
I was like, you're in the wrong profession,
Exactly.
love. Get the money for that, then go and sing. Because you're obviously a
talented
genius.
Engineer.
Yes, if you can do that in one night, you should be able to. And that's just one of the flaws of the film, because they did that because they like, we need an excuse for her to get out the house. And someone obviously watched Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure and was like, oh, let's do that. You know, I'm surprised they didn't use the same music, which is hilarious. You know, I mean, films about music, so you know,
exactly.
in that sense. And it's a lot of like throwaway things. Like, I don't think any of the characters are very likable, except for like the elephant character, Mimi, who's like the only character that has any kind of character development arc, because she's shy and wants to sing and tries to get into the show, and her design actually shows that she's shy. But that's obviously ruined because her family is a stereotypical black family, because someone watched Eddie Murphy's The Nutty Professor and thought that would be funny.
Really?
Yeah, they're obviously black. But at the same time, the actress who plays her can kind of sing. She is by far the strongest singer in the whole film, because everyone else is very weak. Even Seth MacFarlane, who voices a rat mouse, I'm not sure which one he is. Seth MacFarlane is a good singer, but even here, he's
outclassed.
He's outclassed. He's not really doing such a great job, and it is it's very suspicious the character he plays, because he plays this very egotistical jerk who's only interested in fame and money, who is extremely unlikable, and that's the theory a lot of people throw on Seth MacFarlane, creator of Family Guy himself. So I have no idea if they know of Seth MacFarlane's infamy, and he's too stupid not to realize, or he just doesn't care.
Or maybe he does know and he thought it'd be funny.
but it's not funny because it's partly true.
Yeah.
Because Scarlett Johansson plays a porcupine. Scarlett Johansson has nothing to do with porcupines in real life.
Yeah.
She's not a punk chick. She doesn't have issues with her boyfriend. Stuff like that. That is.
She does have issues with her boyfriend. She doesn't want single relation. She wants polygamy.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they didn't go, oh, we got a dynamic like that in the film. Get Scarlett in.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that. It's so baffling because I'm just I can't tell if it's intentional or it's not intentional or it's just a mistake. It's weird. It's very weird because they know that he can sing and does kind of stuff like Frank Sinatra and kind of like that kind of stuff. They know that much. And the character's designed like that. Yeah. But the character acts like an arsehole. His introduction is he's playing his saxophone on some stairs or something like that, and some guy gives a nickel and he goes, hey, what the hell is this? A nickel? Really? That's all you have? And the guy's like, I'm sorry, that's all I have. And he's like, really? Open your pocket, let me see. And he takes the money off him and he says, see, I told you, he was lying.
Wow.
And throughout the whole film, he's like, oh, I've already won this competition. He goes and gets a credit card because he knows he's already won the money and spends it all. And it's just not likable and interesting in any kind of way, and doesn't even get any kind of comeuppance other than the fact that he doesn't really win. Yeah. And it's just awful.
So, I've noticed you haven't talked about my favourite character.
I want
to sing, Dad!
I haven't talked about Jim yet.
I don't want to rob banks, Dad. I want to sing.
The problem is, as much as that is a cliche storyline for the most part, they could have done something with that. Yeah. They could have made a film about that in some sense, but then again, someone would have easily shouted Billy Elliot.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just ridiculous. It's stupid. it's really, really dumb because sure, he can. Let's say for the sake of this argument, he can sing. Yeah. I don't understand why his father was like, no, you're not gonna sing. You need to drive this car and rob this bank.
Because his son Jimmy Elliot, he has to do what his dad does.
No, he doesn't, because his dad's too stupid to realise he's clearly not interested in this at all. I mean, makes no sense. I mean, when they robbed that first bank, he's not even wearing a mask. He's just like...
Oh, God, he should be arrested.
Yeah, they should have seen him, because... Yeah, I don't know, film is very dumb. Even the owner of the theatre... Yeah. Is such a scumbag, honestly. Really, he's completely obliterate to almost anyone. I mean, granted, he makes a mistake, but... Yeah. The whole issue of the film could have been resolved because the main plot point is he doing a singing contest and he's like, the prize is going to be, I think it is £1,000. Okay. But then obviously it becomes £100,000. Right. He realizes that very early on. Yeah. And he could have easily just said, actually, it's not £100,000, it's £1,000. Yeah. And there technically shouldn't have been any issue because most of the characters, including Seth MacFarlane's character, needs that money. Yeah, yeah. Regardless. So there's no point in him lying about it and continuing the show because, first of all, he can make the money back through ticket sales, simply put, because enough people were interested in that. A simple explanation say, oh, it's actually not that. And he already establishes that he could very easily get the money from another character, which never really gets explained until the end. Oh, okay. So when you get the liar reveal, it's completely forced and makes absolutely no sense. Because... it could have been resolved very easily, and he's just a scumbag, honestly. He's like ciphering like electricity from other shops, and he's avoiding the bank and not paying people, and it's just like, am I supposed to relate or even like this character? Because he's not anything. No. Like I said, the only likable character is Mimi the elephant, and only because you're like, oh, that's kind of sad. She just wants to sing, and she didn't quite get to sing, and she's shy. Yeah, and she's shy. And
everyone can relate to that.
And, to some extent. And she's somewhat a good singer. She's the best singer in the film, simply put. It's just really, really bad, this film is. And what it stands for, because Illumination make all their films on a budget. And I have no issue with you making a low-cost budget film, but...
put effort in.
The problem now is that Illumination has got away with it so many times that now DreamWorks is doing it. Yeah. Do you want to take a guess on the budget of Captain Underpants, the film? Take a guess at the budget of the film.
Oh God. I'm gonna go low. I'll say 500,000.
500,000. Yeah. As in like under $1 million. Yeah. Okay. Well, the budget is surprisingly about 30 to 38 million.
Okay.
For an
I was going
animated film.
pure budget.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
they would. You can't make animation with that.
Okay.
Especially not if it's a film.
I don't know. Norm of the North did happen.
Norman North had a budget of like 3 million, I think.
Did it?
Yes.
Wow.
I think it was a budget of like 3 million.
I thought the budget was peanuts.
No,
like,
I
pocket
think
taffy
most
or
of that
something.
went to the cast though.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, because I think either the director or the person currently in charge of this film or DreamWorks, essentially his logic was by having more of a push for low budget, low cost animated films, because he does have a point. Animated films are expensive as hell. Animation is tricky to do and it costs a lot of money. Disney knows that, and you know, nothing wrong with him having that mentality of trying to bring down the cost of that, because you know it's ridiculous. I mean, Zootopia almost had a bigger budget, as big as Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh, okay, one obviously looks like more time and effort and money went into one. You know, it's weird.
Right.
But he was essentially trying to go for a push to get lower budget films. Is why Captain Underpants looks as bad as it does and has performed as bad as it does.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of getting, and the problem is the film is getting rewarded because people are going, oh, it's a low budget film, I'll go see it. And they're saying, and now their logic is now low budget equals good film. That's what Illumination has been doing for a while.
Yeah.
Low budget always equals a massive profit because they're making these films for under 50 million, under 70 million, and they are making back tons of money, and they're just pissing it away
and it's
in
for
other
kids
films
as well.
And they have the excuse of it's for kids.
Yeah.
Same thing with Captain Underpants. That film looked god awful, and I'm glad that Wonder Woman has killed it.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is, they have that mentality of low budget always will equal success.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that hasn't quite happened for the most part. Because it's wrong. It's bad. You shouldn't have that mentality because low budget does not equal good.
No.
Same as big budget does not equal good.
Exactly.
You know.
I think there needs to be a purge on Illumination. They need to stop with the shit.
They really need to, but you still have Despicable Me 3 coming out, which has like so many cliches. It's like that film's gonna be a mess.
Yeah. And they keep showing that same scene for the trailer every time.
Which scene is that?
The one where they're like going onto the boat and there's the dance fight thing and all that, and it's like every time.
Because the problem with the film is you might find this a bit weird to say, but it has too much going on in it.
I honestly, all I know is there's a scene involving a boat and like shoulder pad disco guy.
You have shoulder pad disco guy, who's the main villain.
Yeah.
You have Groot's long lost brother. You also have the minions. You also have his Groot's aka girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the kids who they're still in this film.
Wow.
Yeah, did you forget about the kids he like looks after now?
I remember one scene is "It's so fluffy I'm gonna die" from the original, and that's the only thing.
Yeah. The film forgot what it's fucking about, and it's like, no, it needs to be like a spy comedy, but also make sure you set up minions too.
That's like the most budget thing you can do. It's
and also Long Lost Brother.
Yeah.
Long Lost Brother.
Yeah.
Because when I first heard about this film, I saw the Disco Shoulder Pads guy who was voiced from one of the creators of South Park, which is probably going to be the only good thing about the film. And I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting villain.
Yeah.
To some extent, he really likes the 80s. I'm guessing his ultimate plan is, I'm going to take the world back to the 80s.
Yeah. I'm going to have a giant mirror ball called the Death Ball. You
know, that kind of stuff. But then it's like, no, actually the film's about Groot's long lost brother.
What a piece of shit.
And it's like, it's literally the case of, excuse me?
Yeah.
Like, I liked aspects of the first film that basically dealt with Groot not wanting to have children around his house.
Yeah.
That was the only good thing about the first film.
Yeah. And the minions were just dumb comedy.
The minions were just like, oh, look at this really weird thing that he created.
It was unoffensive at the time.
Yeah. It was like, oh, okay, that's funny. Back to the film.
Go back.
Yeah, and there's the lack of design that follows almost everything in Illumination.
Yeah.
I don't think they have at least one strong design, because everything can be traced down to a better design and all that. I mean, is Groot supposed to be Nosferatu? Because if he is, they failed hardcore.
I think he's supposed to be Russian supervillain. That's why he's called, like, Gru. Like, I don't know, because I'm pretty sure Gru is the name for, like, a special Soviet ops team.
They should not be making reference to things like that, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Because that's confusing.
Yeah. Because there was Gru, KGB, and Smersh, I think.
That's probably what his brother's called.
Yeah, Smersh. Brother Smersh, how are you?
It is my long lost brother Smash.
Oh no.
Yeah, but the problem is pretty bad, because I know I said on the last podcast I'm really worried about animated films this year, and it's not great because I completely forgot Captain Underpants existed.
I didn't even know it was out, so when you said it a few minutes ago,
I think it's out just for America because they did the kind of dumb thing and just releasing in America. So when the film comes to England, it's gonna flop.
It's gonna die in seconds.
Pretty much, because everyone's still talking about Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Wonder Woman.
She's
I still love that. just the song.
But yeah, I mean, because you got DreamWorks. Let's be frank. Let's talk about the four big dogs real quick. So you have Disney, DreamWorks. Unfortunately, we have to put Illumination there because yes, they have made animated films, and let's throw in Studio Ghibli. Yeah. So Studio Ghibli still in for the running.
We've got Red Turtle coming out for us this year.
Their past is their future is uncertain, but their legacy gold. Yeah. For the most part.
And Miyazaki said he wants to do another one.
And he's doing one more film thanks to the Red Turtle. So gold, let's put them at the top. Disney, as far as this year, you have Cars 3 and Coco.
Yeah.
Let's put Cars away because we know that's not going to be a good film. And let's talk about Coco. What do we know about Coco? Nothing.
I know I'm in love with Coco.
They won't say anything about Coco. No joke, they released a new trailer, the official trailer of Coco, and they showed nothing else. Wow. For some reason, they will not show anything about this film, and I'm getting very worried about this film because we got some more scenes of the kid is going to be in like the land of the living dead, and he sees his auntie and stuff like that. And they made a very weird reference where his undead family is going up to the counter and he's like, "Are you smuggling any goods?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" Yeah, they went up and it was like, "Do you have any identified items with you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's my human grandson." I was like, "Oh,
that's pretty poor taste."
Yeah, I was like, "That's not like I get it, but like I was really worried about that one scene, and I was like, you need to be very careful.
Yes, they do.
Very careful about that kind of stuff.
No.
Because I was. That's when I got really worried. I don't think the whole film is going to be at the expense of a whole country, but I was like, oh, I don't really like that.
I don't know, like, just from that, I'm thinking maybe that's why they're not showing everything.
Exactly, that's what I'm getting worried about because let's compare it to Zootopia. Yeah. First teaser trailer came out. It was an original animated thing. It kind of explained the whole world, what is anthropomorphic characters, and that. Then you had the second trailer. Then you had the English trailer. Everyone knew what Zootopia was. Everyone knew it. What do we know about Coco? If I told you Disney's next film was Coco, you'd be like, what? Yeah. Crack, okay. You know, if I told you the name Zootopia, you'd be like, animals. Yeah.
Animal City.
Animal City, is it? Like, it's going to be animals, and then you can go and plot and all that. So I'm worried about Disney, because keep in mind, 2 animated films this year. Yeah.
It's quite low.
Very low, and obviously you had that very worrying article, I think last year, where they were like, where people were questioning Disney, like, you're releasing a lot of reboots of your classics. Do you have anything original coming out? And Disney was like, yeah, Brad Bird, he's working on a new film, and some of the other guys, they're working on original films, and they'll be out soon. And it's like, but it's not now, though, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the problem. Disney has kind of realised is lackluster. And DreamWorks, out of the picture for me, personally. Yeah. They are out of the freaking picture for me.
But what about Shrek 5?
No, that was the start. That was the start. There's no need for Shrek 5. That book closed on Shrek Forever After. It doesn't need to be reopened.
It won't reopen. It will move over and a new book will open.
No, I don't want to see that.
And then you'll see a whole library that hasn't even been touched.
No, I don't want to see that. They messed up. They really have messed up. Part of the acquisition of them partnering up with Fox or whoever, whatever that studio is messed them up, because I don't think they're ever going to make anything that good, because I think the only hope they have is How to Train Your Dragon 3. Yeah. But even then, their higher-ups might say, don't do that. Make a film out of this toy. Yeah. Like they did with Trolls. Like they did with Captain Underpants. Yeah. Interesting.
Don't forget the hottest animated film that's coming out this year, the Emoji Movie,
which is Sony, which not even in the picture, honestly. Everyone knows that film is trash. Simply put, Sony's not in the running. DreamWorks is out, so it's literally just Studio Ghibli and Disney right now.
And I guess the good thing is, which I've been lucky about this year, all of these anime films coming over. It's been great. I've been so happy.
Films, yes. Sophie and the Witch's Flower.
Yeah. And then we've got Napping Princess coming out, I think.
Napping Princess.
Not this month, maybe next month.
Someone Over the Wall.
Yeah.
Which is from a guy who did Studio Ghibli. Red Turtle, Your Name.
Silent Voice.
Silent Voice.
Yeah.
And a few others that are coming out later this year. And it's just like, hey, if they're all good, that will be good.
Yeah. I'm happy. I mean, I've obviously seen 2 bad ones as well, which...
yes.
You know, but they're being some good anime. I'm happy that someone's bringing some good animation.
And I know they've said that there's going to be a No Game No Life film as well that's happening now.
Wow.
I think that No Game No Life is fairly popular in Western culture, so that'll probably be coming over.
Yeah.
I love No Game No Life because it actually sums up most anime fans.
I haven't watched it, so I don't know.
Just by name alone.
Yeah, I can tell by the name.
Oh boy, that's a questionable enemy. But yeah, it's upsetting.
Yeah.
Because for someone who likes animation, to kind of just see it go to shit this year is a bit distressing, because I've just ignored DreamWorks completely.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they have anything interesting coming out. I mean, lucky I won't have another film out for like probably 2 more years.
Yeah, because they put that time in.
It's stop motion, so who knows? They could rush to write the story, but the film is still going to take a while to make.
Just put on reruns.
Yeah, just
of
watch like Paranorman and Coraline repeatedly, basically.
Yeah. Both good films.
Oh yes, but yeah, it's very annoying. So that's kind of like my worst thing, which obviously is just such a bigger issue that is I don't know if I can say even I hope it gets resolved, because if this becomes the new norm, you could see another collapse, and then we have to go back to Disney Renaissance again or something like that, which would be a good thing because Princess and the Frog did well. But that does not sound promising when one of your biggest films is Cars 3.
I still laugh just at that.
You know you're in problems.
It's so dumb.
You know you got some issues in terms of how you market your film when you're playing Johnny Cash.
That from that trailer alone, you know it's gonna be good.
I mean, granted, they didn't use the Johnny Cash, but it was
someone.
Yeah. I know.
It's because the Logan trailer came out.
At some point, someone said,
"Yeah,
do you think Johnny Cash would work with this trailer of Lightning McQueen fucking dying?"
Yes. That joke trailer made me more curious about the film than the normal trailer ever could.
It worked though.
Yeah, it did.
I hurt myself today.
Yeah, that's almost becoming the new Sound of Silence as joke song. Yeah,
because with trailers, it's a Johnny Cash, Sound of Silence, Kanye West Power, and random Imagine Dragons song.
Yeah.
Usually the one where they scream, keep on fight, welcome to the new game. Is that what it's called?
I can't even
it's where
remember.
he screams, welcome to the new game. That one that they usually use when they want to make something emotional.
Radioactive, which was a good song when it came out, and now it's been used to death.
Oh yeah, I've always hated that song, but did people enjoy that? Yeah. I mean, people had more respect for Gote's main song than that, and I was just like, wow, Imagine Dragon, you're gonna be getting them big bucks. You don't need to release another album. And
they did, and it wasn't that good. I can't even remember. I think there's one good song, maybe.
But when have they ever been good?
I liked the first album, and I saw them live, and they were good live.
Okay. I can't dispute live performances.
Yeah.
Whatever, that just leaves us with the video of the episode, which is going to be another music video, and that's going to be washed out with Get Lost, which I almost would Get Out. Get Out! It's been kind of great if someone halfway through the song just starts screaming Get Out. But it is Get Lost. Great video. I haven't quite made up my mind about the song as of yet, but I really appreciate the art style and the animation, because it is extremely tricky to actually be able to do something like that.
It's like that really great pop art, like collage style, and the way they animate it is great.
Yeah, it's very sneakingly animated, which is it works perfectly. Hopefully, Washed Out can actually make a good album this time.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up this podcast. Usually, as I always say, anything else we need to add before the end of the podcast, we do.
Yeah.
E3, as we've already said, is happening. Still be happening by the time this podcast goes up, and I know all the mega fans of the Ferret and Raccoon podcast are wondering, is you gonna do an E3 special? And the answer is yes, we are gonna do an E3 special after E3 finishes.
Yep, we're gonna make sure everything's up. We're gonna collect all our thoughts and go through, and we're gonna go on a wild ride.
We can't give you a date exactly, but it'll be up before podcast 65.
Yeah.
So you're going to get quite a few podcasts. We're going to try and make it short as possible.
Yeah.
But, we'll see what happens. But yeah, we're going to do that. We got about 2 film reviews at least going up in the meantime, which should be fun. So look forward to those. They're definitely going to be quite the interesting contrast when they do go up. So you guys will see. But yeah, anything else, Ace, that you need to add at all?
I can't think of much.
Okay.
No.
That's fine.
Just play Persona 5. It's good.
Yes, if you're a gamer and you do have a PS4 and you're just letting it gather dust.
Oh, even if you're not a gamer or don't have a PS4,
just
buy Persona 5.
And then watch a playthrough of it.
Try and play it. Like even just put the disc on your head and just spin it around. Let it work.
And you'll understand.
Exactly.
Yeah, only rich people can do that at this rate. Oh boy, but yeah, if that's the case, I'll end this podcast by saying I am the Angry Raccoon.
I am Ace.
And we will see you on the next podcast, either 65 or the E3 special.
Of Dewey-san.
Alright, laters guys.